Very good. Welcome to Monday Morning Dharma. Let's go ahead and settle into a comfortable meditation posture. Please take care to ensure that your spine is straight and relaxed. So much of our daily lives is spent being very active, sometimes even busy. Please let go of everything. Let go of your list of things to do. Give yourself full permission to take refuge in your meditation practice. Give yourself permission to take refuge in the stillness of your mind. And when you're ready, please gently transition into meditation on the inner body. Become the silent observer of sensations. Sensations that may start in your hands and your feet in the form of a tingling, perhaps a lightness, perhaps a heaviness, perhaps a pulsation. Just be the silent observer of these sensations. When you encounter a situation that you find undesirable, you have two choices. You can resist or you can accept. Resisting what is will perpetuate your suffering. Accepting what is will free you from your suffering. Please know that please know that patience is not gritting your teeth and putting up with something. Patience is a mind that wholeheartedly accepts whatever arises, having abandoned the notion that things should be other than what they are. Please know this truth about patient acceptance. If you perfect your practice of patient acceptance, you will never suffer again in this lifetime. So for now, I'd like you to just rest in acceptance. I would encourage you to conjoin your practice of resting in acceptance with meditation on the inner body. Doing so will enable you to have a non-conceptual experience of acceptance. It will enable you to be acceptance. So for now, just rest in acceptance. accept. Accept what is. Accept this moment. Accept what is arising in this moment. Become acceptance. Please gently redirect your awareness. Become aware again of your physical body and allow your breathing to become less shallow. Taking deeper and deeper breaths, become aware again of the garments of clothing resting on the surface of physical body. Become aware again of your surroundings inside the room you're occupying. Become aware again of the world that exists outside of the room that you're occupying. Become aware again of clouds, of blue sky beyond the clouds, of outer infinite space beyond the blue sky. We dedicate all of the merit from this morning's meditation to world peace. May leaders of countries who are at odds with one another soon come to recognize that nothing is accomplished with minds of anger. Instead, may they solve their differences with minds of empathy, patient acceptance, compassion, and wisdom. And may we as individuals make the greatest contribution we can to world peace by increasing, deepening, and ultimately perfecting our own minds of patient acceptance. Completely fill up your belly and lungs with air, and when you're ready, you can open your eyes and bring your meditation to an end. Welcome back, everyone. This morning, we are going to begin our venture into the Mahamudra of patient acceptance. Mahamudra is a profoundly deep topic, a very subtle topic. Subtle is code for difficult to understand. The Mahamudra was the missing piece for my Dharma practice, that I discovered, that I learned about, I don't know, 12, 13 years ago. 12 or 13 years into my Dharma practice, I wasn't experiencing any results. No noticeable results anyways. And you'll hear that often from longtime practitioners. I've been doing these practices for a long time. These practices on patient acceptance, in developing compassion, developing humility, and I'm not getting any traction. I've heard oftentimes over the years, the missing piece is the Mahamudra. And even if you are, as we go through these teachings and you find yourself not sure that you understand what it means, that's okay. Just hang in there and stay with it. And I'd just like to offer some lines from the Ganges Mahamudra, Ganges as in the Ganges River, the Ganges Mahamudra, which is my favorite text my favorite Dharma text of all. And one of the verses says, if you rest in this being the mind of Mahamudra, Tilopa says, if you rest in this, you will be liberated from the prison of samsara. If you rest evenly within this, all of your wrongdoings and obscurations will be burned. This is called, for those reasons, the torch of the doctrine. So, even if you don't understand immediately, just know that these are teachings with which all of your wrongdoing and obscurations, basically the things that are getting in the way of our freedom, will be burned. So a lot of different aspects to the Mahamudra. If one were to make me sort of point toward the single sort of foundational piece of Mahamudra, I would say that it is teachings on the importance of non-conceptual awareness, that thinking can only take us so far. And just remember, I've talked about this the last couple of classes, I'll say it again. Change comes about. Real fundamental change comes about through experience. Doesn't come about through intellectual understanding. Existential change, as Reggie Ray says, existential change comes about through experiencing a thing. And the existential change I think that we're looking for are changing from a place of anger and resentment to a place of acceptance, from a place of being egotistical to a place of humility, from a place of miserliness to a place of generosity, from apathy to empathy, from indifference to kindness. These are the types of existential changes, hopefully, we're looking for, aspiring to get to. And what Mahamudra says is that an understanding of these different ways of being, empathetic, compassionate, humble, generous, loving, kind. These things don't arise through concepts, through an understanding, through any mental construct. They come through experience. Eckhart Tolle is fond of saying, the study of insanity will not make you sane. Kind of cuts right to the heart, as only Eckhart Tolle can do. And I would invite you to just to please think deeply about the difference between a mental understanding of something, a conceptual understanding of something, and an experience of something. I can describe to you, for somebody who's never had chocolate, I can sit them down and say, okay, here's the deal with chocolate. It has, I can describe this texture, the color of the chocolate, explain that there are differences between, white chocolate and dark chocolate and milk chocolate. And like, this is the taste. I can explain the taste to them. It's ultimately futile, right? There's just no substitute for the person tasting the chocolate and thus experiencing it directly. Pretty straightforward, right? As I was thinking about different different impactful experiential events, I was thinking about 9/11, you know? Imagine what it would be like to talk to someone who's 20 years old, who wasn't born at the time that 9/11 happened, and trying to explain to them what it was like on the morning of 9/11, 2001. You know, talking to this young person and saying, this is what it was like. This is what it was like. Like, somebody told me what had happened with the Twin Towers in New York City, and I just was stunned. I couldn't believe it. And I lived in San Diego at the time. I lived pretty close to a airport flight pattern. There were no planes in the air, and the business is closed. And there was a disorienting sort of feel to life at that time, right? And I know that you all know what I'm talking about. Might be different experiences than what I had. It undoubtedly was different experiences, but there is no way to explain to someone else who had not experienced 9/11 directly to sort of transfer that experience that I had. No concepts, no descriptions, no labels, no nothing can match to the actual experience of having been there on that day. I said a minute ago when I was describing it to somebody, it was like da 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 da. And that's the point of Mahamudra. It's like that, but it's not that. It's like that, but it's not like that. There's no substitute for experience. love. We can talk about love. I can describe love, give a definition. There's no substitute. There's no substitute for the experience of love. You know, I was thinking about, for some reason, step parents, step parents. A man or a woman falls in love with a man or a woman who has children, and then the couple decides to get married, and the man or the woman enter this pre-existing family with young children, right? What's going to make that family work is if the incoming step parent can love those children, right? Pretending that they love them isn't going to work. Fabricating love for those children is not going to be the same as actually loving them. Maybe some of us have firsthand experience of this. If not, I'm sure all of us know of others who have been in that situation. Even if we don't know somebody who has been directly in that situation, we can surmise pretty clearly that if the incoming step parent can come to love those children genuinely, authentically, in an unfiltered way, there's a lot more potential for that being a happy family, right? Conceptual experience won't cut it. Yeah. It has to be the real thing. So it is with patient acceptance and what the Mahamudra teaches us. A fabricated pretend, the practice, here it is, the practice of patient acceptance isn't the same as being patient acceptance, is it? Of living it, of becoming it. This is what the Mahamudra points to. And tomorrow I'm going to share another verse from the Ganges Mahamudra that links up to this. And yeah, I'll leave it at that. So for us, did I say tomorrow? I meant Friday's class. Friday's class we'll talk about we'll talk more about a special verse that might illuminate this point more. Thank you, dear friends. Thank you for being here. Have a wonderful week. Thanks.
Thank you, Jeff. Bye.
Most welcome. Bye-bye.
Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.